What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So on today's episode of Boozers, Rides, and Wrenches, we're working on the 1986 Honda Fourtrax. So a little backstory on this four-wheeler. Last winter it quit running on us, and we sent it to someone because we couldn't figure it out, and he got it running again, but it wasn't idling right. And maybe a month, two, I don't know exactly, it quit running again. So today's episode, I tore the carb off and I tore it down, trying to figure out what may be wrong. And with all that, keep that in mind, and let me know down in the comments if you do have any suggestions on what I could maybe do to get this four-wheeler running, because right now, after tearing it down and everything, I'm unsure. But with that, enjoy the video. Alrighty guys, one thing I also forgot to mention is these four-wheelers are really simple to work on. I have all my tools right here and here. Of course, I got normal wrench set, needle nose, screwdriver, carb cleaner, because you gotta clean. I'm gonna have to clean the carb probably. These are all parts whenever I worked on getting those front plastics off. And there's the tube going from the carb to the air box. This is an aftermarket carb that we bought. We couldn't get it to fit, even using the stock studs. And this here is just the bar for the front end here, whenever the front plastics are on. So I'm gonna get to work here pulling this carb off. First step is getting your 10mm socket. Actually no, first step, I'm gonna have to remove this throttle cable here and the needle and all that. I have to remove that, and then step after that, you're gonna remove these two here, this, and then on the other side there's a 10mm nut to remove. And the second one I'll pick you guys back up on, because it is kind of a pain to get in there. Since I did take the plastics off, it is a little easier, but I will pick you guys up when it's time to work on the other side. Alrighty guys, so I'm over here at the carb, and I don't know how well you guys can see this, but right here is our first 10mm. So I'm just gonna take the ratchet and at least get that loosened up there and pull it right off. So there's our first 10mm nut. I'm gonna take you guys to the other side here and show you. I'm gonna take you guys to the other side here and show you how to get this other one off, because it's down in there. Where is that? It's right in here, but it's right against that, so you have to get your 10mm wrench in there and get it knocked loose. Getting that back on there is going to be a pain, but shouldn't be too bad. It's harder when you have the plastics on, because you can't get in there without moving the plastics. Let me get you guys back on there. Once I got it loose here, actually no, that's corroded shit. There we go. Once you get it loose enough, you can get it with your fingers. So if I show you guys here, you can kind of just push it along and it'll come right loose. And just after a little bit there, it's easy. But I'll show you guys. The opening there isn't very big, so can't really get in there. But anyway, opening isn't very big, so when that comes time to put it back on, it's not going to be the easiest, but still it shouldn't be too bad. And I'll just drop the nut. Okay, so our next step in this, next step here is to remove that runs to the throttle cable. So what we're gonna do here first, make sure that some of this is out of the way, so it'll be a simple. We might have to get a pair of needle nose or something in there, get a good grip on it. There we go. That just came nice and loose with my fingers. And I'll show you guys how this works. So this consists of just basically a spring, your throttle cable, and your needle. This needle goes down, let me sit that down in here in your carb. Actually, if I put I'll show you guys. When you hit your throttle, that cable compresses your spring, which brings more fuel to your carb, which basically means you go. So now, removing this carb is going to be as simple as, well, getting a hold of it. Make sure we don't lose that gasket. Getting a hold of it, and since this has been sitting out, it was a little tight, but right there it is. That is our carb for the 86 Fourtrax. This here doesn't, there's a little dirt in there, but it doesn't look that bad. We do need to give this four-wheeler a wash. I might do that before I work on it next, because I am gonna go here and I'm gonna go in here soon and order a carb rebuild kit for this, and I'm hoping to get it running here soon. So next, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you guys quick an easy tear down of. Alrighty guys, so in front of you here I have the carb off of the Fourtrax. So these things are really simple to tear down. I've done this one a handful of times as we've been working on it, but I'll just show you guys quick. Here's your bowl, and that's your main part you tear off to get into one of these things. It's not that hard to get into, so that's actually where I'm going to start here. So all you need for that, to remove that, is a Phillips head screwdriver, and it's 2 Phillips head screws right here and right here. So actually, before I do that, I am going to get, I don't know if you guys have ever tried these things before. They are pretty sweet. These magnetic screw, bolt, whatever else, magnetic trays for parts. So I am going to clear, I got this corner cleared out for all the parts to this carb. So like I said, just take your Phillips head and remove your screws. Now I'm pretty sure last time I worked on this four-wheeler, I'm pretty sure I did drain this, so I don't see any fuel coming out. But like I said, remove this other screw here, and that bowl should come right off. Yeah, there's definitely no fuel in here, because I would be, oh, there is a little bit. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with there. That is your fuel. That's fuel, and it does look like there's a little bit of dirt in there. So I think my next step here is gonna be, well, first get the old fuel out of there. I'm gonna remove our petcock here for the fuel, like, you know, turn it off or whatever. And I'm also going to remove this here. That is a filter down in there, so I am going to remove it next, or remove this cover. So for that, you can use either a pair of pliers, or I think I have a socket over here for it. I can't exactly remember. Let's try this here. That's way too big. Bear with me here for a minute, guys. Pretty sure this is a 3/4 inch. Let me check. No, wow. This thing's bigger than I thought. Right now, let's try 11/16. And that's it. So, I'm gonna loosen that. Get it off of there. That's the side, and there's still fuel in there. I must already clean this because there really isn't that much dirt in there. So I am just gonna put that back together. Because if it's something we don't need apart, why keep apart? I still got fuel coming out of this petcock, so that does mean I got fuel going in there. So now we're gonna take another Phillips head screwdriver and we're gonna remove these screws. I'm just gonna use the Phillips head the whole way because there's a smaller ones. Put them in my little tray there. Now I have fuel all over my hands, but I'm gonna remove this second screw. And I think I might see a little bit of dirt in there, I don't know. As you can see, moving that little screw there. And it's, come on, just a little more. And it's apart. So I'm gonna throw that in there. This all does look pretty clean in here, as you can see. I am gonna shoot a little carb cleaner up in this hole here, so it'll shoot out of these two fuel line hose where the fuel hoses go. For this, I'm just using Traveler carbon choke cleaner from Tractor Supply. I'm using the hose. I don't want to go about drop the can. But all I'm doing, I'm gonna hook the little straw up and I'm gonna spray this clean, and I'll cut back to you guys once I have all this clean. Alrighty guys, so after a good cleaning here, I do have to warn you guys, make sure you wear your safety glasses, and you should probably wear gloves with that stuff. But all I did here was I put the straw from the carb cleaner down in that little hole, and I sprayed out the first one, and then I turned this to reserve. Then I sprayed more, and it came out the other hole. So those are all clear, which means, you know, that's good. So now that I know that's clear, I am going to hook this all back up and put it back together. This only sits one way, which is this way. So of course, put one of our Phillips heads in there. Just put it in there enough so that stays on. And then we're gonna take our second one, drop in there, and like I did with the other one, actually this one I'm gonna tighten down the whole way, just because now we got both of them in, and since we got both of them in, yeah, it's all on there right. So now tighten that up, tighten this one up, and we'll be good to go on this side of the carb. Then I'll show you guys the jets and everything else to a carb. So there's that tight, and this one is tight. So I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm going to grab the rest of our carb. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get this float out of our way, which just consists of this little rod here. So I just pull that out, simple as that. And then this comes right off along with that little needle. If I can get it, sorry, right there, that little needle. That needs to go with the, so first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove our jets and see how they're looking, which that'll take, those both will take a flathead screwdriver. So I got one of these 4 or 6, I think there's 6 in one. So we're just gonna flip this, and these have slots in them, so you can put your flathead, I'm actually gonna do this one first, but anyway, put your flathead in there, crack it loose. Actually, okay, forgot about this. This one has a removable This jet has this top removable so you can replace these, but I actually gonna thread that back in, and I'm probably gonna have to get a socket for this, or a wrench, I don't know which one. But I do want to remove the full thing. It's too big. Let's try I'm just gonna try the small. It's a 7 here. Looks like it's too small. Actually, it fits perfect. But since I got that knocked loose now, that will screw right out. Now I am gonna check to see if this is clear or not. So I'm just gonna take my carb cleaner and spray in it. And it is clear. So, like I said, I didn't do that on camera, but I just took my straw, put it in the end here, and spray carb cleaner, and it's clean. So I am gonna set this aside while I'm working, and we're gonna pull out this one next. So if any of you guys can comment in the comments if you guys know which one's which here. I'm pretty sure this smaller one that I'm about to pull out here, I'm pretty sure that is your idle jet, but like I said, I'm not 100% sure. So if any of you guys definitely know that, let me know. This one is pretty tight in there. There it went. So that's your jet right there. I'm gonna make sure this one's clear here. Again, taking my straw, putting it in the end of the jet, and it's clear. So like I said earlier, make sure you're wearing safety goggles with this stuff. I did just about get sprayed in the face with the carb cleaner, so just be careful. So our next thing, I think the next thing I'm gonna do here, I've seen people on, of course on YouTube where I am, they completely removed this here, but I don't think I'm going to do that, just because I don't think it really needs to be done. So I think what I'm gonna, this is, if you guys didn't know, this is for your choke. So I do have a new choke cable that will route right into here, and it'll run up, and whenever you pull it, it shuts that, and your fuel can go straight into your bowl. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna spray this whole thing down with carb cleaner, get it clean, and I think that's really all I can tear down on this. So until I get parts for it, I don't know if there's really much I can do. So like I said, I'm gonna take this, spray it down, and let it dry. So show you guys the amount of parts that are left here until I get a rebuild kit. I got our float, our 2 jets, and our 2 screws to the ball. And our Fourtrax, all we're gonna do now that we have the carb off is I'm gonna get actually a grocery bag, 2 things, a grocery bag and a Ziploc bag. And the reason I'm gonna get those is I'm gonna take the grocery bag and stuff into our air box, because if you look in here, let me get this loosened up real quick. Some of these are tight. Anyway, all right, so I have this one. Dang, these things aren't on there pretty good. All right. All right, let's start making me mad. All right, that's all my own stupidity. That's fine. Let me get this rear one. These are just wing nuts. So it's just these here. Just simple as loosening them until you can pull up here. I do need to get the needle nose and hopefully crack that loose there. So over here, I'm just gonna get our needle nose. And there we go. It's starting to come loose here. I am gonna probably spray some sort of cleaner on that so we don't have that issue again. So now it is a little tight, like I said, but it's loosening. So now, there we go. Take that off. So this is your air, where your air box is. And I will remove another wing nut here. Actually, no, we're gonna tighten that down. But anyway, so you don't want to get water in your air box or anything else. So if we put a grocery bag in there, that will one that will seal that off, and two, okay, it's plastic, so water can't get through it. So water, dust, anything like that will not be able to get in there. So I am gonna place this wing, I don't know if you want to call that a wing nut or a wing bolt. I don't know if a wing bolt's a thing. But anyway, so we're going to place that back in there and tighten that down. Sorry for the wind. I don't know if that's affecting my camera quality or my mic quality or not. And then our plastic, our Ziploc bag. Hold up, I gotta let the wind die down. All right, so as I was saying, so then our Ziploc bag I'll put it over this and tighten it down. So again, nothing can get in there, because that leads directly to your motor and your top end. And we really don't want anything in our top end. This thing still cranks and everything. And I think our top end should be good still. I mean, it hasn't been run very hard. And also I am gonna get another Ziploc and put over this so I don't get dirt or anything else in it. But for now, that's all I'm gonna do. I am gonna, off camera, I'll put this back on here. Actually, I'll put that back on, tighten it down and everything. I do wanna show you guys, actually no, I ain't gonna show you guys that. That'll be for a different video. But otherwise, I think that's all I'm gonna do here today. We're gonna put this thing back. I'm gonna cover it up. So I'm gonna cover everything up, make sure nothing gets into it. And I think that's everything. So like I said, I'll order parts here, hopefully get another part to working on this four-wheeler to you guys. I want to say thank you guys for watching. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you go check out my last video too. I was up at Cardboard Creeper Garage's place. We didn't really work on anything, but we rode four-wheelers and we just had some fun. So with that, thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll get another part out to you once I get parts and I start working on this again. See you on the next one. Peace.